Hi, my name is Evelyn Sanchez, and I interviewed Chef Jorge Miranda and Olga Vega from Chilapan Mexican restaurant located at Armitage and Milwaukee. Chef Jorge Miranda has been in the food industry since 1992. He's never had any formal culinary education other than auditing a few classes at Kendall College. But he's been able to work his way up to head chef at numerous restaurants in Chicago, including Las Palmas and Adobo Grill. He also worked in New York at Rosa Mexicano as head chef until he finally opened his own restaurant, which is Chilapan, along with his wife Olga, who is the restaurant manager. One of the first struggles that any hospitality business encounters is recruiting staff, and at Chilapan, Olga says that recruiting staff is not very difficult, but the challenge is finding the right person for the open position. She believes that hiring internally is the most effective way. She says it's easier to trust a recommendation from a current employee because the employee already knows the expectations and the demands for the job. When interviewing prospective employees, Olga stresses the importance of face-to-face interviews as the best method of drawing conclusions about someone. Olga says that resumes can be embellished and they don't necessarily reflect the person's true character. For Chef Miranda, it is extremely important to hire an individual who has passion for food and is not merely looking for a job. And in his opinion, the only way to truly discover this is to meet someone in person and ask certain questions and then evaluating their responses. Olga says that one of the most difficult parts of training a new employee is not necessarily having patience with the employee, but making paying patrons have patience with the new employee. She says that oftentimes frequent customers have that patience and they are more understanding, but not every customer is, so that can create issues in the training process. Chef Miranda, on the other hand, says that many issues that he's encountered while training someone are directly attributed to the employee's attitude and their will to learn and take criticism. A lesson that Olga has learned from training new employees is that she needs to shift her training methods to accommodate an individual's learning style to make the process run a little bit more smoothly. When it comes to motivating their staff, the front of the house and the back of the house take two different approaches. On busy weekends, Olga makes a game and encourages waiters to sell specials for the night, and there is a monetary incentive for waiters, and this keeps them motivated throughout the busy day. Chef Miranda takes a different approach where he motivates his line cooks and sous chef by allowing them to give their input when developing ideas for new dishes on the menu. He says that this gives the employees a sense of feeling important and valued in the restaurant, and at the same time, it serves as a way to keep the employees interested in their jobs, since they're all actively encouraged to think about creating new dishes. Most of Chilapan's communication is made in a verbal and informal manner. Chef Miranda and Olga emphasize that good communication with employees is key to running a restaurant, especially when working to prevent conflicts from arising. Chef Miranda has learned that while working in large restaurants, conflicts are more likely to occur when the departments within the establishment are really segregated, and the isolation in the different sections, like in the back of the house, front of the house, management. This leads to poor communication between the departments. Um, Chef Miranda and Olga both stress that everyone in the establishment plays a vital role on the team, and each player must actively communicate with each other. When communicating negative feedback, both Olga and Chef Miranda stress that there really shouldn't be a need for negative feedback, and it's the duty as of the manager and of the chef to turn this negative feedback into a positive one. Olga says that if there is a need for negative feedback, she always waits till the end of the shift to address the problem, correct it, and then moves on. She says it's really important to move on and not hold a grudge because if the issue has been handled with and resolved, then there really is no need to go back to it. Democratic leadership is the style of management that is practiced at CUL232. Both Olga and Chef Miranda encourage their employees to take part of the decision-making process. Olga says that she can make decisions without taking into account her employees' opinions or needs because she is aware that any decision that she makes is going to directly affect her team. Similarly, Chef Miranda shares that about 40% of the decisions that are made at CUL232 include the input of their staff. Chef Miranda's leadership style is much like being a coach rather than a manager. He always pushes his employees to think independently and encourages them to give him ideas for specials and even gives them the opportunity to develop their own specials. When starting any career, it is inevitable to commit mistakes. It is part of the learning process. When Olga first became a manager, she says that her biggest mistake was taking things way too personally. She states that comments and criticism can consume you if you take them seriously. Um, she goes on to say that work has to be kept at work and not let it affect your life. In Chef Miranda's case, he says that the biggest mistake he has made, and he has witnessed many other young chefs commit, is to think that everything is going to come out perfect and having the mindset that they're going to reach great heights quickly. He says that it's really challenging to get things right, especially when you're just starting your job as a chef. He says that many times when mistakes are committed, they're handled badly in the spur of the moment. And having that mentality that you can execute and make your employees perform everything flawlessly is a big mistake when you're first starting because you can only reach this point with many years of experience. Being a perfectionist should not be confused with having high standards, however. Chef Miranda's standards are high, but now he understands that when mistakes are committed, he is able to handle them logically. When comparing himself when he first started his career as a chef to now, Chef Miranda says that he has progressively grown more patient and understanding with dealing with his staff. He no longer handles situations with a frenzied mind and he can easily step back and analyze the situation and assess them without any negative attitude. Chef Miranda says that throughout his career, he has the opportunity to work at many kitchens, but his philosophy of management with his employees hasn't changed a lot. His ideals and goals have always been to be the best and to keep his customers happy. He believes that he is only as good as the person he's working next to, so that by exposing his principles and his desires to be the best, they will be carried on to the rest of his employees and they will work really hard to be the best and exceed his expectations. He states that recruiting staff is much like putting together a soccer team, that once you have all your players, you still have to move them around and in order to find the best position for them and allowing them to work together as a team to make their restaurant the best. Um, Olga doesn't think of herself as being above or below any of her employees just because of the title that she holds. She says that they all equally share an important role in the restaurant, and although there are many responsibilities and burdens that come with managing an establishment, there are also benefits and joys that come with the job. In Olga's opinion, the most enjoyable part of managing is customer service. She loves being able to solve problems, make decisions, and finding the best way to manage situations to have things running smoothly. She finds that really satisfying. One of the things that Chef Miranda most enjoys is being able to create and inspire and share his passion for food with others, especially with the young community interested in the culinary arts.